Alrighty, guys, so the futures are looking pretty good so far this morning. It's currently about 9:15 a.m. Markets are about to open up here. We have the Dow futures up 0.1, or not 0.1, 1.1%. Pretty nice pop there. We have the NASDAQ up 0.9, Russell up 0.8, and we have the S&P futures up 1% as the VIX, the mighty old VIX, it is down 4% as silver's bouncing back today after an awful day yesterday. Silver was down, I think, almost 6% at one point. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, guys. Silver's now up 2.2% as gold is up 0.25%. So what we're noticing right now, and let's just dive right into it. We'll break down some bank stocks later in this video and other stocks that I'm looking at, plus my thoughts on the overall markets and kind of what I'm seeing here. Let's take a look at SPY first of all, right? We're going to look at SPY, and then we're going to look at Triple Q. What we're noticing here is, again, the futures are up. SPY's moving up from 377.90 at close yesterday to now $381. This is actually moving past my 380 alert that I set, I think, yesterday, and you guys can clearly see that. Now we're right by 382, which is the 180 SMA on this 20-day chart. And what are you guys seeing here? Well, I'll tell you, because I'm seeing it. We're seeing this inverse head and shoulders, right? You guys see it now? Boom. Left shoulder head, right shoulder. Now we're starting to see that right shoulder gain some steam. And who knows? It could complete anywhere from 385, maybe a tad bit higher than that. And that put it right by the top of this wedge on this 20-day chart. And that's going to be the moment of truth, guys. And to be honest, I'm not too convinced that we break out of there, that we are going to break out of the wedge quite yet, because we're not even above the 180 moving average yet, guys. So baby steps here, baby steps. Let's see how today goes down, and of course, early next week is when we're going to really figure out or see what direction we pick. Does SPY break 386, break the wedge, and start moving 395, or is it going to get rejected at 382, fall back under 380, and boom, we're back into the low 370s just like that? So that's kind of what I'm watching here today, and of course, we'll see how next week plays out as well, Monday, Tuesday, right? And on Triple Q, pretty much the same thing, right? We're in a wedge. We are getting buying pressure at the bottom of the wedge, but the difference, the main and pretty much only difference here is Triple Q this morning is actually breaking out of the 180 SMA. You guys can see that here on the 20-day chart, and it's taking out my 288 alert that I set. So this looks like it's gearing up for maybe a couple more bucks to the upside. We're at 289 now, 292, 294. You know, that's where this could be going. But like I said on SPY, same thing here on Triple Q, guys. I'm not convinced that we're going to break out of the wedge quite yet. You know, I'm not quite there. I'm not convinced, because 295, top of the wedge, we're clearly under that. So I have my alert there at 295. So if we do break out of there maybe next week, who knows? Today, if things get wild, which I doubt that happens today, but who knows? 295 plus, that is where, this could be going. If it takes the wedge out, we shall see. So as always, I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments, guys, and I'm probably going to upload this onto YouTube. So if you are finding value and you want to see morning videos, pre-market analysis, check out my Patreon. I usually make these videos, I do make these videos exclusively for my top tier Patreon members. If you want to check that out, it's linked down below, or you can go to StockSurfest.com/Patreon, and you also get a bunch of call outs, exclusive content, what I'm doing, all the moves I'm making, I post on Patreon, whether it's short-term trades, long-term options, all that good stuff. So with that being said, guys, let's talk about the banks. We had a couple banks report yesterday, if you guys remember. We had JP Morgan. They flopped. We had, what was the other one? Morgan Stanley. Did not look good. And today we had Wells Fargo this morning. We had Wells Fargo, ticker symbol WFC, and they went down initially, I believe. Yeah, look at that. They closed at 38.75 yesterday. They went down to 37.37 in the morning after the report came out. That's a 3.5% drop. But by the looks of it, you guys can see we have clearly filled that gap back up from 37.35 now almost at $39. And that's funny because they double missed as well. And you guys saw yesterday JP Morgan double missed, Morgan Stanley. Wells Fargo also double missed. They did 74 cents EPS versus 86 cents estimated revenue of $17.03 billion versus $17.6 billion estimated. So double miss for Wells Fargo. And by the looks of it, guys, it's clearly still in a downtrend. And to be honest, I'm not surprised that they double missed, because we said yesterday, if these earnings are foreshadowing what's to come, right, Wells Fargo's probably going to miss as well. And lo and behold, they missed. But the funny thing is, the next stock here company that we're going to talk about is Citigroup, and they double beat. They double beat, guys. Citigroup did EPS of $2.19 versus $1.69 estimated. So they crushed EPS and they crushed revenue, $19.6 billion versus $18.12 billion estimated. So I'm not gonna lie, I don't know exactly why they're ripping right now, or they double beat. And I've said this before on the channel many times. Bank stocks, they're not my forte, right? I don't invest in bank stocks, nor do I ever plan on it. And sure, okay, fine, maybe I do invest in bank stocks through ETFs. VOO is an ETF I own. There's other ETFs I own that I'm sure there's banks within those, and that's my only exposure to bank stocks, because I mean, sure, I have an idea of how to value them. I mean, they're like other stocks, but there's certain things, there's little nuance in valuing a bank stock, right? It's a little bit different. And to be honest, I'm not into bank stocks, and I'm sure you guys probably aren't as well, or a lot of you aren't. And maybe if it gets to a level, these bank stocks where they're screaming buys, some individual ones, maybe I'll then dive into it. Maybe like a JP Morgan or something like that. That's the only one that I would consider owning at this point. But honestly, I couldn't tell you why this one's not outperforming, but why this double beat and Wells Fargo didn't. Maybe it's the something going on here. Let's see. Citigroup Q2 institutional clients revenues increased 20% year over year. Markets revenue up 25%. Services revenue up 28%. Banking revenues down 4%. Citigroup shares are trading higher than yeah, I mean, they just double beat. It's not it doesn't mean necessarily just because JP or Wells Fargo or these other ones double missed, it doesn't mean everyone has to double miss, right? So it looks like Citigroup did pretty well here. And again, if bank stocks are your forte, let me know in the comments. Maybe they are for me. I'm not a big bank stock guy, and what's that famous saying? Stick to what you know, or whatever. You know what I mean? It goes something like that, and that's kind of what I do. I don't try to claim that I know everything. Nobody knows everything, but I do like to stick to what I really understand and dive deeper into that, right? So with that being said, let's talk about some other ones here as the markets are about to open up in 5 minutes. We have a little bit more time for this video, guys. So Micron's looking pretty interesting. We have these some semiconductors moving up this morning. Micron, we have an inverse head and shoulders here. We're above the 50, and now we're about to test the 180 SMA on this 4-hour chart, which that's right around $62-ish. If that point's able to break, I'll set my alert there now, 62, maybe at some point today. It's already up about $2 in the pre-market, but if we do crack 62, there could be a little bit of, more than a little bit, a decent amount more upside if this right shoulder could complete. That could be getting us anywhere from 65, maybe towards the 70s over time. Now, I'm not saying it's going to go straight to 75, which is where that, I guess you can say, left shoulder was at or started. I'm not saying that that's going to happen in the short term here. I mean, it could, but it's a little bit unrealistic. I'd say from 62 to 66, a little bit more realistic, and maybe towards 68, 70, we shall see, guys. So Micron, set your alert. I like it. It's setting up for a potential move here, and Intel is doing the same. You guys can see maybe not as strong of a move quite yet as the one we saw with Micron, but we're noticing an inverse head and shoulders on Intel, and I mentioned this I think yesterday or the day before on YouTube, that this stock is really, it's really been finding, I don't want to say it's the bottom, but it's really been bottoming out the past roughly month in the mid-30s. So is this the bottom for Intel? It could be. Again, I'm not calling it as the bottom, but I am noticing some signs of an inverse head and shoulder. And if we do, shoulders rather, and if we do break out of 39, 50, 40 bucks right by the 180 SMA, then we might get a short-term rally. And that's here on the 4-hour chart, guys. So I'm going to set my alert at 40 bucks on Intel. And the last one here, which is slowly creeping down to the hundreds, low hundreds, and potentially under, it is Alibaba. And this is one that we were looking at as it was in a triangle. Now it's slowly starting to break trend, guys. It's under that red trend line you can see here, and if I just clear the drawing set, you'll be able to see that we're under both moving averages on the 4-hour chart. I mean, if we get a death cross, which could be coming here at some point based on what I'm seeing, Baba could be going back towards 90, 95. And I've said this before on Patreon. I'll say it here. We're uploading it on YouTube today. I'm going to be looking to buy more Baba under $100. Now, originally, about a week or two ago, I was looking at it as a trade when it was, above these moving averages, looking pretty strong. I never traded it. But I mentioned when it was at 120, 115, 125, if it were to break out, okay, we'll trade it. But if it were to come down back to under 100, I'd buy more in my long-term position. Because one thing that I do, guys, I know a lot of you do it as well. You own stocks. I own stocks for the long term in one account. And then I have a trading account where I trade in that, and then maybe I'll trade the stocks that I own in my long term, right? Just because you own a stock as a long-term investment, it doesn't mean you can't trade it. You could also trade it, right? So that's kind of what I'm looking to do, or I was looking to do with Baba. And now that it's getting to 100, it's probably going to go under 100 by the looks of it. I'm going to be looking to buy more. So let's go back to the futures quickly. The opening bell's coming in a minute here, and I got to get this video out to you guys. Wow, look at the Dow Jones, guys. Dow Jones futures went up they were up 1.1 when I started the video. Now they're up 1.5%. This is insane. Look at the Dow futures, guys, on a freaking rocket ship right now. 31,000 Dow futures. We have the Russell. They're up 1.1%. Rocket ship, look at that volume through the freaking roof. NASDAQ, rocket ship. So, yeah, let's see how this plays out, guys. We have 30 seconds until the open. I'm going to end the video here, wrap it up. Again, this is on Patreon. I make these every morning, and I post my moves there, call-outs, more access. You get more access to me one-on-one. That's linked down below, or go to StockSurfest.com/Patreon. Do not forget to get your 10 stocks from Moomoo as well with a $100 deposit. Each of those could be valued up to $2,500, and your 6 stocks from Webull with any amount deposited. All of those are linked down below. And with that being said, good luck today, guys. Cheers. I'll see you later. Peace out.